Welcome to this episode of today's Vision Alignment. And I'm your host, Brian Wagner, but this show is all about helping you to understand the importance of your core values and your core beliefs being aligned with your vision, your company's vision. And remember, you're the CEO of YOU. That company is very important. So understanding your core values and your core beliefs need to be aligned with that vision are really critically important. So without any further ado, I want to bring on our guest today, but I'm going to tell you that we have some great guests, more great guests coming on here in the future. So stick around until the end, and we'll talk about who those guests are. And also, if you would, please share this out. Share this video with as many people as you can. If you're listening to this on live, put a hashtag live. If you're listening to a replay, put a hashtag replay. Just do that for me, and I would really appreciate it. But without any further ado, I want to bring on today's guest, and he's going to help us to understand that we all have blindness in our lives. And this is our special guest, Mr. Sam Richter. Hello, Sam.
Hey, Brian. Thanks so much for having me. I really love the mission of your show, because I think the alignment of core values and your vision and really who you are as a person. Gosh, if you can align that with how you make money, boy, life is really fun and life can be really great.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. So that's my mission, is to help people to understand that. And I appreciate you coming on today to help us just further the message.
You bet. Thank you.
Yeah. So real quick, not real quick, take as much time as you want. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, gosh, all of us have so many different stories. I guess I'll focus on my business story, or my entrepreneurial story. I started out, I was a graduate of the University of Minnesota School of Journalism and in the advertising department, and just wanted to be an ad copywriter, and did that. It was a lot of fun. I had the opportunity to work with some amazing mentors at some great companies, people I still call friends to this day, and moved up in the ranks, eventually owned my own ad agency, became a creative director, had an opportunity to go work with probably the #1 public relations agency in the world. And again, was able to have incredible mentors, people that, again, I still call dear friends, who really taught me the ropes, and was introduced to some amazing opportunities working with some great clients. This little thing called the internet came out, so I had an opportunity to go manage marketing for a great e-commerce company, software company. Again, given a lot of great opportunities, had mentors. Had the opportunity then to go run a nonprofit business library. And the goal was to digitize it. And we were able to do that, become a national resource. It didn't work from a financial standpoint as well as any of us had hoped. So then I moved on to, at that point in time, being it was a nonprofit, I started speaking, and I started to have people tell me, hey, you're pretty good at this. We'd like to pay you. And so I started to do that. And at the time, they were paying the nonprofit research organization. And then I decided to write a book, because people kept asking me for a book, and fast forward to today, I speak all over the world. I've got a number of online programs I've developed to really everything from, like an online university where you can learn what I teach on stage, along with creating search engines, search tools, if you will, that automate a lot of what I teach. But I think that the theme that really runs through the entire journey is just always trying new things. I never really, I guess one of my core values, when you talk about your vision, is I never am one to think, this is just because it's always been done this way, doesn't mean it always needs to be done that way. And always trying to look for new things and really taking risks, oftentimes jumping into the deep end of the pool without ever knowing that there's even water in the pool, I guess, sometimes, because there have been a few failures, a few broken legs along the way. But, you just try things and just have a lot of fun. And I think the core value is really in aligning the vision. I've always had a vision of how can I take what I do and do it ethically, honestly, provide exceptional customer support, do the best I can, and with really the core value of how do I help other people achieve their goals, maybe a little bit faster, more efficiently, more effectively than they might be able to do on their own. And then taking what I like to do and trying to align it with that. That's really my story.
Wow, that is awesome. So tell me a little bit about what core value, but you come back to, but also tell us a little bit about, and the listeners coming in as well. Tell us about maybe a key tactic or practice you keep coming back to that really it helps you maybe every day, at least every week.
Sure. Well, I think it's all about, I'm a big fan of Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, written in the 1920s. I still think probably the best business book I've ever read, because there are other obviously amazing business books, but many of them, frankly, almost all of them I've ever read, are based on the concepts that came out of Carnegie. And it's really trying to understand other people and be genuinely interested in other people. And that's really the philosophy of everything I teach on stage, the philosophy of my online search tools. It's all about how do you find information on other people. I'm a curious person by nature. And so Google is a godsend to me, being able to go in and find information and I have a passion for that. I like that. And then being able to align that I guess one side of my brain, because doing effective Google searching is really a mathematical equation. Mm-hmm. So aligning that side of the brain with the other side of my brain, which is just really trying to understand other people, ask good questions, figure out what's going on in their world, how to be relevant. And I think that's the key thing, is just really be interested in other people. Because what I found, and what Dale Carnegie talks about, Carnegie said the sweetest sound in the English language is the sound of someone's name. Well, now with Google and all the other online resources that are out there, I believe the sweetest sound in the English language is the sound of someone's name based on what they care about. Mm. And so kind of aligning that vision with the products that I build and the books that I write and the the keynote presentations that I deliver, it really, it makes life and it makes work a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great answer. So tell me, aside from COVID, what obstacle or challenge are you still working on?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest obstacle is obviously, as an entrepreneur, I mean, all of our listeners today are entrepreneurs. I think the hardest thing to do, and this is really difficult for me, because again, as I mentioned earlier, my background is in marketing. And so I know exactly what to do to market myself and sell myself. But I'm like the cobbler whose kids have no shoes, in the sense of I can tell other people exactly what to do. I can help other people implement. I have the talent and the ability to actually execute on the tactics that I recommend to other people. And the biggest challenge I have is actually doing that for myself. The thought of sitting down and writing a landing page about myself or my own products, or putting together an automation campaign. Because I think the biggest challenge I have is I think logically about my own work and myself and the products and solutions I deliver, but people buy on emotion. And it's really hard to write copy or design something that's emotional when you're so emotionally invested in its outcome. So I would say that's the biggest challenge. To sum it up, marketing and selling my own stuff is the hardest part.
And you say that it's that way because it's your own stuff.
Yeah. I think we just get so close to it that things that are obvious to me, and somebody, I might be doing a demo of a product, and I'll be bashing myself on a ball peen hammer on both sides of my head. On one side, I'm like, how do you not get this? It's so intuitive the way I built it. How do you not understand it? And then the other side of me saying, well, just because you get it, it doesn't matter. Who cares if you understand it, Sam? Because nobody else cares. I'm gonna use a little crude story, but it was one of my mentors, my first mentor in the ad agency I talked about, and probably one of the name of the company. No secret. At the time, it was called Fallon McElligott. Now it's Fallon Advertising. And I remember this was a group of talented people that I was just fortunate enough to be a fly on the wall and learn from, writing probably some of the most brilliant advertising and marketing and branding campaigns I mean, I can say ever created, because some of them are actually in the Smithsonian Institute as some of the best ad campaigns ever created.
Really?
And I remember one of my mentors said this line, and it's just so true. And that is, a great idea not sold is like peeing in your pants in a dark suit. You get a warm feeling all over, but no one else notices. And so my point in that, and it's a little crude, but it's really stuck with me, is you can create the greatest products. As an entrepreneur, you can create the greatest solutions that solve real world problems. But if nobody knows about it, who cares? Right. And that's our biggest challenge. And, and right aligned with that then, because you might say, well, why don't you delegate that? I've run companies before where I've had people reporting to me, so I know how to do it. But if for some reason, when you're a president or a manager, a director, whatever that might be at another company where you have people report to you, I don't know why it is, but it's so much easier to delegate than it is to delegate when it's your own company and when it's your own work, your own intellectual property. Because I guess part of that is, if I'm going to pay somebody $5,000 to do something, well, that's $5,000 that I now have to go to my wife and say, that lawn furniture we were going to get this summer, I just spent it on a marketing campaign. So I guess that's also one of the hardest things as an entrepreneur as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you've got a lot of advice. It sounds like you've had good mentors and everything.
A great mentors and a lot of failures. So we'll put it that way.
Well,
no big failures, no failures that anybody else would know, but certainly they're always in the back of my brain.
Yeah. So what is the best advice you've ever gotten?
Wow. I think I'm going to sum it up in 2 words. Be nice. I know that's simplistic, but I find that if you really think that other people have their best intentions, that you probably have shared core values, you may just have different ways of getting there. I mean, if we look at the environment in which we live right now, where so many people are angry. Let's take COVID as an example. There are people that think that masks are silly, and there are people that think that we should wear masks 24/7, 365. I believe that both individuals have the same outcome in mind. Hey, let's get through this thing as quickly, as painlessly as possible with the least amount of death and sickness among others. We just have different ways of getting there.
Right.
So I think that's the best piece of advice is just, again, it's very simplistic, be nice, which ties into listen, understand, treat people well, and really try to, as much as you can. And it's so hard today in social media because, as you know, social media is really designed to feed us the messages that align with what we believe.
Right.
It's really important that I think we if we can keep that, again, very simplistic, be nice in the back of our mind, because underneath be nice is a lot of other values, I suppose. That really will help us get to where we want to get. But I don't think anybody who's ever, you can never fail in business. I shouldn't say that. You might fail financially, but you'll never fail. You'll be able to sleep at night if you just provide great value, do business ethically and honestly, treat people well. You're going to do okay.
Yeah. Well, one of our friends here from Pakistan.
Great.
Hello. So it's nice. Let me ask you, you have a website, right, that we should be directing people to?
Sure. Yeah, well, it depends what you're looking for, but probably, my core website is just samrichter.com, SAMRICHTER.com, and that's where you can learn about my speaking. If you click on the store button, you can learn about these Intel engines I developed. An Intel engine is basically a tool I've developed that helps you conduct really complex searching for business information way faster. So it's a power search tool, if you will. And what it really does is it helps you find sales triggers. So again, what's going on in the other person's world where they might actually be interested in taking your call. It helps you find decision makers. It helps you find information on companies, individuals. So again, you're highly relevant to what the other person cares about. Now, everything you could find in the engine, you can find on your own if you had the time and the know-how. I just make it super easy. So, type in 2 words, click a button, get the information that you want.
And that's it.
It's that's the goal, is to just try to make things simple. It's never simple, but we're trying to make finding information simpler, I guess.
So you want to bring clarity. You want to help people get to clarity. How do you get clarity, like, on a daily basis? Do you do something to do that?
Well, I participate in numerous mastermind groups. Basically people that will smack me upside the head when I'm doing something wrong, and who hold me accountable for getting things done. I try to do a lot of reading.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'd love to tell you I read a book a week. I don't. I read, I have this ADHD brain, right? I start one book, I'll read a couple chapters, then, I got to go on to this book. There's another book I got to start reading.
No, somebody else that happens to.
Exactly. But I do, I do get my email newsletters every morning from people that I really respect, and try to pick up an idea here or there. It's funny, this time of year, I always go through and clean out my email inbox. I am so jealous of people that have 10 emails in their inbox. I'm going to look right now. I am at 5,714. Now, here's the crazy thing. I bet you 4,800 of those are emails that I've sent myself. Here's a great idea, or here's a video you need to watch. So, here's the challenge, Brian. Someday I'm going to retire, and I'm going to go through and read all those. I go, God, these were great ideas. Why didn't I implement any of these?
Oh, that's funny. Well, what does the next level of success look like for you?
That's a great question. I'm actually doing my 2021 strategic planning right now. COVID, I'm going to say COVID from a business perspective, this has actually been a blessing. Not from a personal perspective, because we've seen so much, sadness in the world created because of it, and in other people's businesses as well. But from a personal business perspective, my business for the past 15 years has basically been getting on a plane, standing in front of an audience of 5,000 people, delivering a program, coming back, maybe getting some of those people to who were in the audience to book me to get on a plane to purchase some of those products. What COVID's allowed me to do is really create a number of these products, like these search engines I was telling you. I now create very custom ones. So, for example, I can do a virtual program, and if people go to my website, I do virtual, pretty cool. I can do a virtual program, a very highly customized based on their prospects, their clients. Then I create a custom search engine. So when they go in, so imagine if you had if you could go to Google headquarters and say, hey, here, my company is in the thermoplastics injection molding industry. And when I go into Google from a business standpoint, these are the 7 things that I care about. I don't care about anything else except these 7 things. That's what I do. I can build a search engine that only finds those 7 things that they care about. And then build a protected web portal for them and their employees where they can access my training. We do ongoing training. They get their custom search engine. That I could never have done that before. And now coming out of 2021, I probably don't see myself getting on a big stage, with 5,000 to 10,000 people, probably till 2022. Hopefully we'll get back to some of those smaller conferences. But now I have products that I'm able to provide to companies with 5 employees, 10 employees, and they don't have to pay the big fee, that they used to. I can do it on a monthly basis, just a monthly renewable fee. As a speaker, it's really hard to say, well, why don't you have me come in, I'll speak for an hour, and then you pay me for the next 10 years. Good luck with that. But now that I have a tool and ongoing training that supports my message, they can do that. I can do that. Everybody wins. It helps everybody level the cash flow. A long way of saying those are the kinds of things I'm looking at in 2021 are how can I take what I used to do on a big stage and get that out and really impact more people. Seth Godin talks a lot. He's one of those newsletters that I read every single day.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant. I don't know where he comes up with those ideas. But
they could be little emails.
God. But his whole concept of instead of trying to reach everybody, just figure out who your tribe is. That's the phrase he uses. Figure out the people who can really benefit and already have a wiring for what I do. And then just continually build programs, products, solutions that really reach those people. And that's, if I were to sum up where I'm going, where the ball is moving, it's finding more of those people in my tribe, if you will, and then building products that really they want, not what I want, but what they want.
Interesting. So you're a high energy guy. You got a lot of stuff going on.
Well, this is my coffee mug. You know, I don't have a normal coffee mug. My daughter bought me this, and that's my coffee mug.
Nice. So what do you do to recharge?
Well, you know, fortunately, I've got an amazing family, a great wife. That's one of the other crazy things of COVID is, you know, I used to be on the road all the time. Now we're sitting home and we're watching movies. We're watching ball games. We used to go, one of my favorite things to do is to go to tribute band concerts. I live in Minneapolis, and there are some incredible musicians and artists in this community. And unfortunately, the places where we go are all shut down right now, but hopefully they'll come back soon. But I just love to turn off the brain and get entertained. I love CIA spy movies, and there's my good friend Ross Bernstein turned me on to Homeland. So right now I'm on season 3 of Homeland. I'm just watching those kinds of things. But again, I'm blessed because it's going to sound crazy. Recharging to me, because again, maybe it's the multiple sides of my brain, but recharging to me is doing something like this. Or recharging to me is doing a virtual presentation. Or recharging to me is sitting down. You know, I've got a new client come up that they need a custom search engine, and they're looking for a piece of information that, you know, at first glance, I say, we can't find that. And then sitting down and figuring out how to do that. That's fun for me. And I get paid for it, which is awesome.
Wow. So you've got a lot of stuff going on. You got family, you got your wife and everything. So
Sure.
That's great. But who do you have? And I'm not sure if you have an extended team or not, but who do you have that shows you your blind spots?
Well, again, that goes back to my mastermind group. So I have an agent, Charlotte, who from the speaking side will help me with, you know, hey, my messaging, my one sheet, my social media posts, make sure that those are on target, that I'm doing what I need to do. I've got my mastermind group, Mary Kelly, Mark Hunter, Meredith Elliott Powell. They really hold me accountable and help push me. My best friend, Ross Bernstein, is always pushing me. Then I've got just extended people. People I serve on boards of directors of companies, and just sitting in those meetings and listening to other people. I try to just be a sponge and absorb, maybe provide some occasional value to other people. But I think it's just surrounding yourself with those people that will help with the blind spots. And you know, I'm also try to be very self-critical, which can be difficult at times. I really try to study others in my space. So I've been blessed. This past year, I was inducted into the National Speaker Hall of Fame. So there's, I think, 230 of us from around the globe going back to the 1970s. Well, that's not why I'm telling you it. Why I tell you it is now I go and I study those other 229 odd people, and they're not odd people. They're just 229 other people. I'm the only odd one in the group. 229 other people. I say to myself, how in the heck am I in this club? Because I'll go to their website and I'll study, and I'll watch their keynote presentations, and I look for the little thing. I used to play football, so I break down speeches like game film. Where do they put their hands? How do they do their nonverbals? When do they pause? When do they talk quietly? When do they talk loudly? When do they input humor? Again, that really goes back to my advertising days, and going back to what I told you earlier at Fallon, where I was an intern. Just learning that, I think somebody said, you know, everything creative has already been created.
Yeah. Which
is obviously, there's truth to that. The untruth to that is you say, well, wait a second, a musician comes out with a great song every day. Yeah, but that part of that song was based on a riff that somebody else did, or part of that song was based on Beethoven, or whatever it might be. Mm-hmm. And so obviously we never copy anybody. That would be wrong. But what we can do is look at their website, look at their videos, watch their keynote speeches, look at somebody else's technology and see how they do a user interface, and gather ideas. And that's, you know, when I talked about earlier having 4,000 emails, that's most of them are something like that. You know, hey, check out the interface on this piece of software. Wow, look where Sharon Brock Mark Scherenbrock's one of my favorite speakers of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Watch where Mark Scherenbrock pauses. When does he inject humor? When does he use a higher voice or a lower voice? How does Dan Thurman do virtual? Those kinds of things where we can learn from other people. So I can, a long-winded way of saying I probably have 100,000 other mentors out there that hold me accountable because I just look at all the great things that other people are doing and try to say, what could I do in my own way, not to copy, in my own way, with my own vision to do something like what they're doing.
Wow, that's incredible. So, but real quick before we go to the next question, I want to invite people that are listening. Just please share this video out with as many people as you can, and on your social media outlets. And if you also would do me a favor and put in hashtag live. If you're listening live, if it's a replay, hashtag replay. And as always, just do whatever you can to let us know if you have any questions or if there's something that we can help you with, where you're coming in from. All those ideas would be great for us to have a better idea of who we're serving today. So, Sam, we've got another 4.5 minutes left here, or 4 minutes left. But I wanted to ask you, how do you stay steadfast in what you do?
Well, it sure is hard. I think, as I mentioned, my ADHD brain, one of the things we it's called chasing squirrels, right? When have you ever driven down the road and then a squirrel goes this way and he goes this way? And I think as entrepreneurs, as business owners, especially in these days where we're not really sure. I mean, it's funny. I'll just digress. There's all these experts. Here's how we get out of COVID. Really? Like, okay, unless you're 100 years old and we're an entrepreneur in 1919, you're making it up like the rest of us. All right. So I think we really have to stay core to getting back to, can I provide an extreme level of value based on my core beliefs from a sales perspective? And just real quickly, what my beliefs are on a sales perspective is, for sales, for so many years, people have just said, give me a list. I'll start at A, I'll end at Z, give me 1,000 names. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of relevance, meaning don't give me 1,000 names, give me 100 that for whatever identified reason, those 100 actually need my product right now. And so that's really always stays in my mindset, is how do I develop tools, programs, intellectual property, speeches based on that concept? All other things must support those ideas. I've got so many other amazing motivational speeches written in my head, actually in some of those emails, but they're not core to that single mission. And so I kind of, there's a concept, put it on the blackboard, put it on the chalkboard. I write it down, in this case, send myself an email, because I might get to it someday, but it's not core to my mission today. So the ability to know what you believe in, and I might be wrong at the end of the day. Maybe getting a list of 1,000 names starting at A, ending at Z is the best way to sell. I don't believe that, but as I'm going to stay focused to providing and creating intellectual property that fulfills that goal.
Well, that makes an awful lot of sense.
Thank you.
Yeah. So real quick, one last question. So tell us a little bit about what you mentioned you read. What are you reading?
Oh, that's a good question. Like I said, I've got a stack of about 30 books on my bedside, and I try to tackle a chapter here, tackle a chapter there. Try to read good books from people, like smart people like Anthony Amarino, Jeb Blount, Mark Hunter. Sales books, because I want to get an idea where sales moving, where's the ball moving. I subscribe to a program called Get Abstracts. And if for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's a really neat program where they take a 700-page book and they summarize it in 3 pages, and they bullet point the key concepts.
Really?
It's not the same, obviously, as reading a book and getting the context around it and the stories, but it's a great way of reading the bestsellers. Not reading the bestsellers, but getting the core concepts of the bestsellers. What I remember, my dad, when I was probably in college, got me a subscription to Reader's Digest. Oh God, I love that. I mean, I look so forward to Reader's Digest, because what is Reader's Digest? it's a summary of the information you need to know. And
Yeah.
and by the way, just as a side note, there was always a section in there about people being nice to other people. But so I guess Get Abstracts is the Reader's Digest version of your ability to read 1,000 business books. You can go in there and read those and get a concept here and a concept there.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for joining us today at this episode of Vision Alignment. I'm truly thankful to all that you've done for us and how you've shared so much with us. I'm going to send you back to the green room. We're going to send the rest of the audience off to here for the next few days and let them know what's going on. But I want to make sure that I let you know how much I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being on.
Well, it's really an honor, and seeing guests from around the globe, that's so cool. That's just amazing to me. So congratulations for all you've done, Brian. What a great show, and I love your message and what you're doing. It was really an honor to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. Take care. Bye. So we have a big show coming up tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be Ryan Campbell, and Ryan Campbell is going to help us with to understand what he's gone through, and how he has gotten to a point where now he helps people with with leadership, with sales, all that. So it's going to be a great show. Ryan Campbell from Australia is going to join us, and then that's Wednesday. So Thursday, we're going to have another few people coming on, and I don't want to spoil it, but we've got some pretty cool names coming on. That's December 10th and then December 11th. So all good things, and I'm just excited about that and excited to share that with you. So again, thank you very much for joining. I appreciate you all, and as always, keep one eye on the road. See ya. Have a good day.